Movement is just natural. So why not put it in your lesson?
The beginning, the middle, and the end.
Because they're moving and they're engaged, they become active members of their own learning.
There are pockets of research from so many disciplines, and it all points to the same idea that we are biologically designed to learn through movement.
But sometimes those birds build their nests way up high, like the great blue heron and the tippy tops of the trees way down low.
It's certainly a valuable thing to have a movement break. Taking the time to say, okay, I notice that we need to move, and taking that break is absolutely fine.
You try it.
And there's also thinking about teaching through movement. It's just a shift in thinking about where the movement might live and how it might live within the curriculum that we're teaching.
And those strong limbs come together and they've got...
There are these foundational skills that students need to be able to have satisfied in order to lead up to when you think about the pyramid of learning. Brain research tells us that there's a lot going on in order for students to learn to read and write and do all of the academic work that they need to do.
So information comes into the body and it comes to the foundational senses. And those are the senses of proprioception, vestibular sense, and the tactile sense. And essentially those are the senses of movement and balance. But if the information coming up through the brain is not regulated or isn't efficient, we're not getting to the part of the brain where self-regulation happens. It really can't get there until the lower foundational senses are satisfied or organized.
Wingtips and back.
When I'm planning, I think about 3 different types of movement. Independent, discrete movement, a collaborative movement when children are moving together while teaching, and a storytelling when the children are immersed into an imaginary world while I'm teaching.
When a teacher's looking at a curriculum, thinking about what is already existing in the lesson that's movement related, and there are a lot of examples of those things in both the skills and in the module lessons, but where can I then capitalize on that opportunity to take it further and to make it really harness what works for children?
Point to the next station and fly away. So I often use independent activities in the classroom. At the body station, you saw quadrant hopping. It's great for kids who are working on spatial awareness.
Where?
You saw them fishing with their toes, and you saw them matching that to another high frequency word.
When we're talking to teachers about this, the entry points that we're looking for are the ones that are going to take a minimum amount of preparation above and beyond what we're already going to do. And saying, look for natural places to make connections.
So you know you're going to be reading 2 or 3 syllable words. A lot of my students are in different cycles. So based on what cycle they're working on, that's when I include in the activity. Then you give the ball to the next person. First, I will model. Then I might have one small group demonstrate what I did.
Together.
And then I walk around to make sure they're doing it correctly.
Great.
Sound that out and try to do it. It's good. Ball it up. See if you can get a basket. Okay.
Cool measure, rescue, travel, use, open, fruit, discuss, visit, chew.
Let's do it as a whole class. We take the letter C and the letter H, we put them together and we get...
Today's lesson, the students were introduced to segmenting using their bodies.
Let's segment that one more time. Ready? Here we go. Let's blend it. Then.
When movement is incorporated, it makes for a more retainable lesson.
No. This C go here, so we learn about C and H.
Begin. A, alligator at. B, bear, buck.
Young children understand the world first through their bodies. I think about how in Crystal's class, she's asking the kids to be thinking about that alphabet chant that we have in the skills block. A, alligator, ah.
E, elephant,
They're they're combining that aspect of rhythm, it has an impact on their ability to access that academic content.
Now we match the letters B-I-R-D. Now we write them down.
They are becoming self-managed. If they hear me singing, it's a cue to them that they need to stop and they need to be connecting to me.
So I'm going to play the music, and you're going to try to read as many words as you can. When I choose a key movement, I make sure I don't use it all the time because the kids get bored. Then I look at the different moves and say, okay, this will work with this cycle or this particular lesson. Who has the word you? Can you use that in a sentence?
Can you do your homework?
Excellent, Kate.
Who has seen the wind?
An example of type 3 movement would be when we are immersed in the story and we come together and we are finding clues that later we'll have to be able to work with in order to further our reading.
Sing it with me. Way up in the sky, the little birds fly. Way down in the nest, the little birds rest. Kevin, what did you get?
If you take a module lesson, you look at some of the poems and the stories that students are using, and then asking them to do the movements with the story or with the poem, or creating motions to go with it.
What's the first word in my sentence? My first word is will. Let's go ahead and write it. Feather fingers.
This really puts it into our bodies and establishes the connection with the meaning of what's happening. And it also develops just our understanding of how language works because we're living the language through our bodies.
Show me feather fingers if you remember how to play this game. Beautiful.
So I've got them invested. I've got them to that emotional point. I got them to the point of belonging. And then when the brain has all this going for that, memory and recall are enhanced.
Walk your sentence from beginning to end. Uppercase letters and punctuation.
Whenever we can harness what they're bringing naturally, that's going to take their own learning deeper. And one of the things that they do naturally is they learn things through their bodies. So this has been a really important aspect of teaching and learning in the design of our work that we're doing.
One thing I would say I feel is the most important part is don't be afraid to look silly. If students see your passion, they'll match it, and give you the same energy back. Wow, kiss your brains. Oh yeah. This is done throughout the curriculum, and so I'm really grateful that EL does have it interwoven in each lesson.
Fire!
I have found that teaching through the senses, teaching through movement, teaching through storytelling is a way that captures all of them.
When I see my students enjoying and excited, as a teacher, I'm blown away.